Hello everybody, welcome to the Wonky Angle, where I talk about electronic music, both new and old. And today I am going to be talking about the new album from The Angling Loser, Arena of Apprehension. The Angling Loser is an ambient group originally consisting of Lee Anthony Norris and Sir Cliff, but now also including Porya Hatami, Will Bolton, Shintaro Aoki, and Martin Hirsch, aka Deer. You probably don't know any of those names, but at least from my perspective, the most relevant one is Lee Anthony Norris. Now, I've been following the work of Mr. Norris for years now. The man goes under several different aliases, such as Metamatics, Norkin, and Nachtplank, the former of which, Metamatics, was actually my introduction to the world of IDM. He also has a number of other ambient collaboration projects, such as Autumn of Communion with Mick Chillage, Asterisk Gate with Craig Murphy, aka Solipsism, Abandoned Communities with Pietro Bonanno, Moss Garden with Dimitar Dudovsky, The Ashes of Piemonte with Will Bolton, Ishkamatics with Matt Hillier of, well, Ishk. And of course this one here, The Angling Loser. While Norris started out in the late 90s as an IDM artist as Metamatics and Norkin, in the last couple of years he has been unbelievably productive. Just his overall backlog has some 60 plus albums in it. Well over half of them released in the past 3 or 4 years. If you're looking for a little sampler of his recent ambient work, he released a compilation called Italian Works, so called because he lived in Italy at the time, and it's under his own name, Lee Anthony Norris. A few songs with each of those ambient groups that I mentioned, so go check it out, it's pretty awesome. Anyway, this isn't even close to Norris's first album of 2016. We've already had the 3 Crows and Raw albums with Ishk, 2 Autumn of Communion albums, Polydeuces and Broken Apart by Sunlight, and a solo album as Nachtplank called Alien, making this what I believe to be the 7th album he's worked on in 2016. I might have missed one, I'm not sure. Also, he claimed to have finished an album under the Norkin alias, but as far as I know, he hasn't released it yet. I will probably cover that when it becomes available, though, but I've digressed enough. Let's talk about this album here. I was looking forward to this album in particular because there were so many names attached to it. It wasn't just Norris and one other person, it was Norris and 5 other people this time. Plus, the first Angling Loser album, Author of the Twilight, was probably one of my favorite Norris-related albums in the last couple of years. There were a lot more organic textures like guitars and pianos on this album, but with a fair amount of electronic tinges as well. The album was themed around fishing, as is this new one here, but this new one is noticeably different. For one thing, this one seems to be much more involved and ambitious, as the Bandcamp page puts it. If the first Angling Loser album was a gentle and bucolic excursion from daily life blur between the surface of our world and the world beneath the water, then the second album presents a trip into the slow motions and reflections found much further out from the banks. Okay, does it live up to that description though? I say yes. I think this is actually an improvement from Author from the Twilight. Now, one thing that really sticks out about this album is that it's significantly less electronic. It's almost entirely composed of organic sounds, from ambient field recordings with sounds from the lake and tweeting birds, to real instrumentation like Sir Cliff's acoustic guitars and Porya Hatami's pianos. There's some ambient synths in the background too, but they're mostly downplayed to make way for the more organic textures which are placed at the forefront. The one exception, though, is Snow for the Oblivious, which does have a bit more electronic tinges, from buzzing white noise to various ambient synth pads to reverse guitars. There's also a low-pitched voice throughout this album that was also in the first Angling Loser album, by the way, that talks for a bit at the beginnings and or ends of certain songs. I think on the track River Song, the voice says, "This is the first transmission of sound," which actually I recognized as a reference to an earlier Metamatics track. That there was a track called The First Transmission on the Metamatics album 3 Jack and Dive, and I don't think it's a word-for-word recitation of what the computerized voice in the Metamatics track said, But still, I understood that reference. I think, though, that's pretty much everything I have to say about this album. Overall, while I admit it is technically only barely electronic, I still highly recommend checking out this album. As I expected, it was a very soothing and relaxing listen that had more to it than just a simple background music. Norris and company have delivered, yet again. Check this album out if you're looking for a good, relaxing, and organic ambient recording. I thought this was excellent. I'm overall feeling an 8.3 out of 10. Favorite tracks: Ocean Song, Lady of the Stream, Rain for the Oblivious, Snow for the Oblivious. Least favorite song, River Song, but really only because it's the shortest one. But of course, this is just my opinion. You can feel free to disagree with it, but I would like to hear your thoughts, so leave the comments in the comment thing down there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all for today. See you next time.